I worked for 9 months at my remote nursing job working from home before anyone ever saw my face. That is a true story. I started working in February of 2025 as a remote nurse. The company that hired me did not see me until I think it was December. And so I did my interview by phone and I talked to maybe I think the recruiter twice. I never saw him, he didn't see me. That's why it seemed like it was a dream. My name is Donna, and I'm sharing remote nursing tips and telling you the real deal about how it really happens. And so, if they hired me without seeing me, then that's a good indicator to you that what was important was my voice as well as my engagement skills. And so, just to help you understand a little bit, um, according to this research, because I'm always looking up research about remote nursing and telehealth, it says that the population of patients that are mostly utilizing remote health service, telehealth services, are going to be those who are older age, over 65. It's going to be those with mental health situations going on. It's going to be females. And out of all those groups, you know, one thing is important. They're going to want to talk. Usually when someone's over 65, you're going to have to establish a rapport with them. And then when someone has mental health issues, they're going to want someone who's listening, and they're going to want to know that you're listening. And then with the female population, you know, we love to talk, we love to communicate. And I don't know about you, but I hate it when I'm talking to someone and I can tell they're not listening. So those are some of the skills that I practiced before I even had the interview, is that I worked on being engaging. Now, being honest, because I'm always going to be honest with you, as a nurse, a lot of times we have been real busy, not really engaging, not really listening to patients. And so I made sure when I did my interview, oh my gosh, I was so engaging. When he said hello, because it was a gentleman that, that interviewed with me, he said hello. I said, hi, how are you doing? And so when he said how he was doing and everything, then he asked me, and I said, well, I'm doing well, and I'm excited about this this interview. So in other words, I was making conversation. Nurses, we don't really like making conversation, but I pushed myself, like I'm gonna be extra communicating, and I'm gonna be engaging, and I'm going to talk, and I'm gonna listen, and and laugh even, just be engaging, because that is what they're looking for. If I can't pull it together and be engaging with him, then they're going to say, oh, well, she can't be engaging with the patients either, and then your application's not going to be at the top. And so I'm sharing this information because a lot of nurses are interested in remote nursing, but not really sure of how to do it, what they're looking for. And so I'm going to give you real quick, I have it on here. You're going to have to communicate clearly and distinctly. You're going to have to show that you're listening by giving feedback to whoever you're talking to let them know that you hear what they're saying. It can't be just this silent listening and no feedback, so you have to engage. And then you're going to have to show empathy. That's another one. I know we see a lot as nurses, and we've seen a lot, we've been through a lot. And so I just set my mind that, I'm gonna show empathy. If someone says they just got out of the hospital, I'm like, oh, I'm sure that was very difficult. Or if someone said they lost someone, I just, make sure I give some empathy according to whatever they say is happening. If they said that it's their anniversary, I'm like, oh my gosh, that is wonderful, congratulations. And that sounds simple, but A lot of that is lost in the workplace as a nurse. And, like I said, I had to build my own communication skills up. And so if you want tips on how to get a remote nursing position, you can go to my Facebook page, Donna Holland. And at the end of the video, you're going to see information about that page, so you'll be able to get to it very easily. And then also on that page, I share weekly job posts on remote nursing jobs for beginners. That is so important because there are certain jobs that are much better if you're just getting started.